Wait. Her voice cut through the airport noise like a thunderbolt, causing heads to turn. Emma Richards, always composed and professional, was now running through Terminal B with mascara streaking down her face. Ahead of her, Jason Moore froze, his carry-on bag hanging from his shoulder, boarding pass clutched in his trembling hand. His 7-year-old daughter Lily looked up at him in confusion as Emma finally reached them, breathless and desperate. "Please don't fly home yet," she pleaded, her voice breaking. "Give me one chance to make this right. If you're enjoying this emotional journey, please hit that like button and subscribe for more heartfelt stories that remind us what truly matters in life." 3 months earlier, Jason had never imagined he would be in this position. A single father still recovering from the loss of his wife 2 years ago, he had moved to Chicago with Lily for what was supposed to be a 6-month contract job at Richards Innovation. The temporary position offered enough money to pay off the medical bills that had piled up during his wife's illness, and his mother had agreed to watch Lily during that time. It was meant to be straightforward: get in, do the job, get out. Emma Richards hadn't planned on Jason Moore either. As CEO of the company her father had built, she had learned to keep emotions out of business decisions. She'd hired Jason based solely on his impressive portfolio and recommendations. He was talented, efficient, and most importantly, temporary. Just another contractor passing through the revolving door of the corporate world. Their first meeting had been strictly professional: a handshake, a brief tour of the office, and a clear outline of expectations. Jason had noticed Emma's sharp intelligence immediately, the way she commanded the room without raising her voice. Emma had appreciated Jason's straightforward approach, his lack of the usual corporate posturing she'd grown tired of over the years. "I don't need office politics," she had told him. "I need results." "Then you hired the right person," he'd replied with quiet confidence. What neither expected was how quickly Jason would become indispensable. His innovative approach to the company's main project had saved them months of work and millions in development costs. He stayed late without complaint, brought fresh ideas to every meeting, and somehow managed to bridge the gap between the technical team and the executives who barely understood what their own company created. Emma found herself looking forward to their project meetings, extending them with questions that could have waited. Jason began bringing coffee for both of them in the mornings, remembering exactly how she took it after just one mention. They were small things, insignificant really, but they formed a connection neither was ready to acknowledge. The complications began when Jason brought Lily to the office one afternoon when his childcare fell through. Emma had a strict no-children policy, her father's rule that she'd never questioned, but something stopped her from enforcing it that day. "She won't be any trouble," Jason had promised, looking more vulnerable than Emma had ever seen him. "She has books and her tablet. She can sit in the break room." Emma had hesitated, then made a decision that surprised even herself. "She can use my office. The couch is comfortable, and no one will bother her there." That evening, Emma returned to her office to find Lily carefully organizing the pens on her desk by color. Instead of irritation, Emma felt something shift inside her, a warmth she hadn't experienced in years. "Do you like organizing things?" Emma had asked, sitting down beside the little girl. Lily nodded solemnly. "Daddy says I get that from my mom. She was a kindergarten teacher and always had everything in rainbow order. My mother was the same way," Emma found herself sharing. "Everything had to be in its place." The conversation that followed was simple, just a woman and a child talking about favorite colors and books, but it cracked something open in Emma that had been sealed shut since her parents died. When Jason came to collect his daughter, he found them laughing together over a drawing Lily had made of Emma's office improvements, complete with rainbow curtains and a desk made of candy. After that day, something changed between Emma and Jason. Their professional relationship remained intact, but there was a new layer of understanding, a personal connection that neither had anticipated. Emma found herself sharing lunches with Jason, asking about Lily, even offering advice on Chicago's best children's museums and parks. Jason, who had closed himself off to most connections after his wife's death, found himself opening up to Emma about his struggles as a single parent, the guilt he carried for taking this job away from his hometown where his support system lived, and his fears about the future. "Sometimes I worry I'm failing her," he admitted one evening as they worked late, the office empty around them. "I'm trying to be both parents, and I don't know if I'm enough." Emma had reached across the table then, briefly touching his hand. "From what I've seen, you're more than enough." The touch lingered between them, an unspoken current of possibilities. As Jason's 6-month contract neared its end, Emma realized with increasing panic that she didn't want him to leave. Not just because of his value to the company, though that was undeniable, but because of what his presence had come to mean to her personally. For the first time since taking over the company, Emma was connecting with someone who saw beyond her title to the person beneath. She crafted a generous offer for a permanent position, complete with relocation assistance and flexibility for his situation as a single parent. It was more than she'd ever offered any employee, but she convinced herself it was simply good business. Jason was worth it professionally. The offer sat on her desk for 3 days before she found the courage to present it. When she finally did, over lunch at a quiet restaurant near the office, Jason's reaction wasn't what she expected. "I'm honored, truly," he said, his expression a mixture of gratitude and regret. "But we always agreed this was temporary. My mother can't keep watching Lily indefinitely, and my support system is back home. Lily needs stability, family around her." "We could figure something out," Emma insisted, her carefully constructed professional facade cracking. "Flexible hours, work-from-home options." Jason smiled sadly. "It's not just about the job, Emma. Lily needs more than just me. She needs her grandmother, her aunts and uncles, the friends she's known since she was born." "And what about what you need?" Emma asked, surprising them both with the intensity in her voice. Jason looked away. "I stopped putting my needs first when Sarah died. Lily is what matters now." The conversation ended without resolution, a heavy silence falling between them. For the next 2 weeks, they maintained a professional distance that felt like physical pain to Emma. She watched Jason preparing for his departure, training his replacement, tying up loose ends. She saw the calendar counting down, and with each passing day, felt something precious slipping through her fingers. The night before Jason's final day, Emma sat alone in her office staring at the family photo on her desk, her parents, herself as a teenager, all smiling at some long-forgotten joke. Her father had built this company with the belief that business always came first. Emotions were messy, unpredictable, and had no place in the corporate world. She had followed that philosophy faithfully, and it had made her successful but increasingly isolated. "What would you do, Dad?" she whispered to the photograph. The silence that answered was deafening. Jason's last day came with the expected farewell party. Gift cards, a cake, handshakes and promises to keep in touch that everyone knew would fade with time. Emma gave a perfectly appropriate speech about Jason's contributions, thanking him for his work while maintaining the professional distance expected of a CEO. If her voice wavered slightly, no one seemed to notice except Jason himself, who watched her with an unreadable expression. As the party wound down, Emma retreated to her office, unable to bear the final goodbyes. She sat at her desk, staring at the contract she had offered him, now marked with a simple note in Jason's handwriting, "I wish things could be different." It was Lily who came looking for her, knocking softly on the door frame. "Daddy says we have to go to the airport now," the little girl said, her voice small and sad. "I came to say goodbye." Emma looked up, composing herself quickly. "Of course, sweetheart. I'm going to miss our talks." Lily approached the desk, her hands clasped behind her back. "I made you something." She produced a drawing, carefully folded. "It's you and me and Daddy. So you won't forget us." The simple crayon drawing showed 3 stick figures holding hands, one tall woman in a blue dress, one man with brown hair, and a small girl between them. Above them, written in a child's careful script, were the words, "My Chicago family." Something broke inside Emma at that moment, the wall she had built between her professional and personal life, between what she thought she should want and what she actually needed. Without a word, she hugged Lily tightly, then grabbed her coat and purse. "Is there still time before your flight?" she asked, her voice urgent. Lily nodded. "Daddy says we have 2 hours and 14 minutes. "That's just enough time," Emma said, taking the child's hand. "Let's go find him." They found Jason in the lobby, checking his watch with a worried expression that changed to surprise when he saw Emma with his daughter. "She came to say goodbye," Jason explained, looking confused by Emma's coat and purse. "Actually," Emma said, her heart pounding, "I thought I might drive you to the airport. We have some unfinished business to discuss." The drive to O'Hare was filled with casual conversation about flight times and traffic, all carefully avoiding the tension that hummed between them. Lily chatted happily from the back seat, oblivious to the adults' discomfort. Emma parked in the short-term lot, insisting on helping them with their bags to the check-in counter. As they approached security, the moment of true goodbye looming, Emma felt panic rising in her chest. Jason turned to her with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Thank you for everything, Emma. This job, your kindness to Lily, it meant more than you know." Emma nodded, words failing her as he extended his hand for a final, professional handshake. She took it automatically, feeling the warmth of his palm against hers for what would be the last time. "Take care of yourself," he added softly, before turning away. Emma watched as Jason and Lily walked toward the security checkpoint, joining the line of travelers. She stood frozen, the weight of unspoken words crushing her chest. Around her, the airport continued its relentless rhythm, reunions and separations happening in equal measure, the human drama of connection playing out in 1,000 different ways. It was then that Emma realized with perfect clarity that she was making the biggest mistake of her life. Her father's voice echoed in her mind, "Business first, Emma," but for once, she chose not to listen. Which brings us back to the beginning, Emma running through Terminal B, calling Jason's name, drawing stares from startled travelers as she reached them, breathless and desperate. "Please don't fly home yet," she pleaded, her voice breaking. "Give me one chance to make this right." Jason stared at her in shock. "Emma, what are you doing?" "Something I should have done weeks ago," she said, suddenly aware of the mascara streaking her cheeks. "I'm not just here about the job, Jason. When you came to Chicago, I was a robot running a company. I had no personal life, no connections that mattered. Then you and Lily showed up and suddenly I remembered what it felt like to care about someone besides myself. People were watching now, some smiling, others pretending not to listen while obviously straining to hear every word. Emma didn't care. I know you need to go home for Lily. I understand that. But what if home could be different? What if I opened a branch office there? What if the company expanded? What if," she took a deep breath, "what if I came too?" Jason's eyes widened. "You would leave Chicago? The headquarters? Your father's legacy?" "My father built a business, but he forgot to build a life," Emma said quietly. "I've been making the same mistake. I don't want to wake up in 20 years and realize all I have is an empty corner office." Lily tugged on Jason's sleeve. "Daddy, does this mean Emma would be near us? Would she come to my school plays?" Jason looked down at his daughter, then back at Emma. "You're serious about this? This isn't just about keeping me at the company?" "The company is part of it," Emma admitted. "You're brilliant at what you do. But this is about more than that. This is about me finally being brave enough to admit that I've spent my whole life hiding behind spreadsheets and quarterly reports because relationships are messy and unpredictable and terrifying. And now that I've found people worth being terrified for, I can't just let you walk away." Jason was silent for a long moment, his expression unreadable. Around them, the airport announcements continued, flights being called, life moving forward regardless of their personal drama. "I need to think," he finally said. "This is a lot to process." Emma nodded, her hope fading. "I understand. I shouldn't have ambushed you like this." "No," Jason said quickly, reaching for her hand. "I'm glad you did. But this affects Lily too. It's not just about what I want." "What if," Lily piped up, looking between them, "we stayed for just a little while longer? Grandma could visit us here. And then maybe we could decide?" Jason looked down at his daughter in surprise. "You'd be okay with staying in Chicago a bit longer?" Lily nodded solemnly. "I like it here now. And Emma helps you smile more. You didn't smile much after Mommy went to heaven." Emma felt tears welling again as Jason knelt to hug his daughter tightly. Over Lily's shoulder, his eyes met Emma's, something new and fragile blooming between them. "Maybe we could postpone our flight," he said softly. "Talk about this properly. Figure out what's best for everyone. That's all I'm asking for," Emma replied. "One chance to find a solution that works. Not just for the company, but for us, whatever us might mean." The announcement for their flight echoed overhead as Jason stood, still holding Lily's hand. "Let me see if I can change our tickets." An hour later, they sat in the airport restaurant, flight rebooked for the following week, planning a future none of them had imagined that morning. It wouldn't be simple, opening a branch office, splitting Emma's time between two cities, navigating the complex dynamics of their personal and professional relationship. But as Lily happily drew pictures of her two homes on a napkin, Emma and Jason reached for each other's hands across the table. "I can't promise this will work," Jason said quietly. "Neither can I," Emma replied. "But I think it's worth trying." In that moment, surrounded by the chaos of the airport, people coming and going, lives intersecting briefly before continuing on separate paths, Emma and Jason chose to create a new path together. It had taken an almost goodbye in a crowded terminal for them to realize that some connections are too important to sacrifice for convenience or tradition or fear. As they left the airport together, Emma's phone buzzed with messages from the office, problems that had seemed urgent that morning now put into perspective by the day's events. She silenced the notifications without checking them. For the first time in her career, business could wait. Life couldn't. 6 months later, the new branch office was thriving in Jason's hometown. Emma divided her time between there and Chicago, finding a balance she had never thought possible. The transition hadn't been without challenges, board members questioning her decision, logistical complications, the inevitable adjustments of blending their lives together. But on a warm spring evening, as Emma sat on the porch swing of Jason's, now their, home, watching Lily play in the yard with her cousins while Jason grilled dinner nearby, she knew she had made the right choice. Her father's company was stronger than ever, expanding in new directions just as her life had expanded beyond the narrow confines of what she had thought she wanted. Jason caught her eye across the yard and smiled, that private smile that still made her heart skip. They were taking things slowly, building a relationship on the foundation of friendship and mutual respect they had established in Chicago. Some days were harder than others, grief for what Jason had lost still surfaced occasionally, and Emma was learning to navigate her role in Lily's life with care and patience. But each day brought new discoveries, new connections, new reasons to be grateful for that moment of courage in the airport when Emma had finally put aside her fear and run after what truly mattered. Life, Emma had learned, rarely followed a business plan. The most valuable opportunities often came disguised as inconveniences, a temporary employee who changed everything, a child's drawing that revealed what was missing, an airport goodbye that turned into a new beginning. Sometimes the bravest thing we can do is admit when our carefully constructed plans need to change. Sometimes the strongest business decision is to remember we are humans first, with hearts that need more than success to truly thrive. And sometimes, the most important journey isn't the one we board a plane for, but the one that brings us home to ourselves. As the sun set on their little gathering, Emma squeezed Jason's hand and whispered, "Thank you for giving me one chance. He smiled, bringing her hand to his lips. Thank you for asking for it. If this story touched your heart, please consider liking and subscribing for more content that explores the deepest human connections and the courage it takes to choose love over convenience. Sometimes the most inspiring stories are the ones that remind us it's never too late to change our destination.